Hi, I'm Dr. Cheek of Doctors of Courage, and we are welcoming to our Doctors of Courage podcast Dr. Shiva Akula. He is I believe it's infectious disease is your specialty, right, Dr. Akula?
Yes, yes.
Infectious disease doctor in Louisiana. He's got several clinics, several locations that his business runs. His business is Cannon Hospice, and he has like four different locations, three in Louisiana and one in Mississippi. And we're just welcoming him because he has a lot of things to share and to let us know about exactly which things that I already know about, but a lot of people out there don't, about the improprieties that are being done by our government prosecution and the Department of Justice. And he's been a victim of that, and as well as so many other doctors in the country and so many doctors to come until we can do something about this. So I want to welcome you, Dr. Akula. And please, first off, let's what would you like to start with? You be the judge of what you would like to start with.
I want to tell my story as to why I became a doctor
Great.
and
Okay, that's what I'd like to start too.
the United States and how it started. So basically, as a kid, I belong to like the average uh, class family over there in India in a Hyderabad city, which is the now the just like the Silicon Valley of India.
Okay.
It's almost like a second Silicon Valley of India. So there's a lot of technology companies there. But when I was born, it was not that popular in terms of the technology. But anyway, I was just a little average Joe and playing on the streets and with the little kids, street kids, and playing the marbles and the little stick thing and blah blah blah. And to become a doctor wasn't really, something that I had in my mind. I was just, in fact, as a matter of fact, I used to live with my grandmother and my uncle. And the uncle that used to earn used to go on a bicycle from place to place, from house to house, and read the water meter and give him
Okay.
a bill. And that was his job. And if I could do a little bit better, I'm set. And that's how I thought. One day, I got a little sick and I had a fever. So my grandma, you know, uh, took me to this sort of a little quack. And in India, in order to make money, what they do is if they give the shots instead of a pill. If you give shots, it's like a 5 rupees, like a $5. And and if you give pill, it'll be like 50 cents. So he started giving me shots, one after another, like about 7 days in a row. And I said, old man, when I grow up, I'm gonna give all the shots back and I'm gonna be a doctor. And my granny started pushing me. I said, when are you gonna be a doctor? That guy is still there. When are you? And sure, she drove me nuts. And man, now I see that, how valuable it was for me to. I was like a little choo-choo train coming off the track, and then she would put me back. And sure enough, I became a doctor. And I graduated from Osmania Medical College in Hyderabad City and became infectious disease doctor eventually. And over here, it is so strange that one of the biggest accomplishments was in 2021 and 22 during pandemic. I never ever thought that I would be involved with my expertise. And initially, it was like a little chill through my spine because what happened is it was right after Mardi Gras that there was a one case in Seattle, Washington, of COVID-19. And then all of a sudden, and our president was saying that, oh, no, no, this is Chinese virus. We're not going to get it, all stuff. So I thought that may be true. All of a sudden, I was at Turo Hospital. I heard the first case was not too far from where my hospital is. And I said, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because I'm going to be infectious disease. So they're going to, sort of draft me. And I don't mind. But I was a little bit, having a real serious feeling that what's going to happen. It's a fatal disease. We don't have a treatment at that time. And I was reading in China, the first guy, Hugh Lee, is an ophthalmologist. He actually died a few weeks later. And of course, it was just a little tears. And I was thinking myself, God, And it seemed like God told me, son, this is a war. I'm going to give you one chance to go to the war as a soldier. I want you to be that. And I say, yes, sir, I'm here. And thereafter, I never worried about, in fact, as a matter of fact, my son is in US military and he's a urologist being trained at San Antonio. He's at Capitol, in San Antonio. So I just thought for myself, boy, I'm telling you that thing, God has given me an opportunity. So that's how I fought during COVID-19. And the hospices, the 3 hospices in Louisiana and 1 in Mississippi, out of them, one of them was a director of nursing. Her husband died from COVID. So she said, hey, listen, Dr. Akula, why don't we do a COVID Crusaders team? And we will go to the indigent Black neighborhoods and give them vaccination because each shot is like their life. And I said, come on, Carla, let's do it. So it was like 100, 200,000. It went up all the way up to like 8,000 and above. And this became so popular. Mayor of East Baton Rouge Parish, Sharon Brown, recognized, this effort. Then the governor of, John Edward Brown, he gave $25,000 check. Vice President zoomed in to congratulate the great effort that we're doing. And our leader, Carla Brown, went to White House July 4th. All this has been recorded in MSNBC, CBS, New York Times, Whoopi Goldberg. In fact, there's a documentary of this that was filmed and presented at Cleveland Film Festival. That was the peak of me and my company, Canon Hospice. And as an infectious disease doctor, I'm not the doctor that takes care of these hospice patients. There is another set of doctors, Ashton Hospital. They take care of it. So, but could you imagine just thinking that, no, I have done the greatest thing in my lifetime. And next thing is, the reward for that is go to jail. I said, oh my God. So what a narrative that we have. One of the best service. This is the only hospice, Canon Hospice, the only hospice that did anything for COVID-19. No other hospice did something like what we did. And we got a national recognition. And so what I'm trying to impress upon you is that, I've been, framed as a thief, that stole the money. And they're going to present, all these witnesses to point a finger. In fact, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you right here, my judge, evidently, with my counsel, asked the prosecutor, hey, listen, do you have an audio or a video of Dr. Akula saying that, you bill at a higher level? And said, no, judge, but we have witnesses that'll point a finger at him.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
No,
I have quite a bit of experience in how the prosecution causes witnesses to perjurize themselves on the witness stand. So I can see what's going to happen there. But anyway, go ahead. You haven't had that experience yet, Dr. Akula. Hopefully we can stop that from showing its face, but go ahead.
So basically, I think, I'm gonna come back to it because I want to expand on the indictment and all this stuff. So that is the kind of frivolous nature of this case. And is absolutely total disregard to what I did in the community and the greatness.
Yeah.
They want me to frame me and convict me and go in front of the judge to say, okay, I have mercy. I'm going to give you a little bit something for you.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of life that we need?
The thing that doctors, before they get attacked, like you, before this happened to you, and you recognize the fact that you were helping people, you were a compassionate doctor, you were helping the underserved, you were helping the indigent. You don't realize until it happens to you that that's what the government doesn't want. I learned that in 2005 when the government first came after me. And they did the same thing to me. And when we go over your case, we'll compare notes here. And I recognize the fact that the government does not want the indigent, the underserved, the disabled, the poor to live. We are in a country now of legalized genocide. And the fact that you were a compassionate physician in an underserved area, and then you actually, because you were, and I don't want to make this sound racist but most of the time when you have a minority physician come in from another country, they succeed. They succeed better than people that are born here in America and live with all the wealth and the prosperity. And you might even be able to explain that. The fact that where you come from, work was valuable, work was valued, I mean. And you had the inner strength and the inner determination to make it in this country. And you did. And that again puts a target on your back, as you're finding out now. And one of the things I hope we can talk about is how we can demonstrate this to doctors that it hasn't happened to yet.
Absolutely.
So we can get them to understand, and we can get this to stop in this country, because this country is going down the tube with what is happening to good doctors like you. Most of the compassionate doctors that used to be, I mean, nowadays, in my opinion, our medical profession has gone down the tube. You don't find compassion anymore. All you find is, where's the money, Absolutely. And all the compassionate doctors are sitting in prison cells.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, I think, how can you give us a little bit more of idea of, how you actually became so successful in America, what your process was there, or
in fact, I need to tell my story of my heritage, where back in India, my grandfather, in fact, I had such a value for these pennies and 1.5 cents in India, that I used to get a little chore or something. I get it and I save it. And then, one day I celebrate if I have a good day or something. So I learned the value of, the nickel, the pennies. My grandfather, my dad's dad, he used to take me we used to have like a little tin, aluminum tin full of wheat. And he used to take me to the wheat mill, and I used to carry that on my head. And I'm sure that you must have heard about all this.
I see it. I don't know how it happens with heads being round, how things can be carried on them, but I've seen pictures of it.
I've done that. And my grandfather, after I go to the flour mill, and after the flour is done of the wheat, and carry back, and he would tell me, grandson, go to the mill room in the nightstand. I got something for you. That's what taught me to work hard. You're not going to get nothing for free. And he had some money. It's not that, he was a stingy man or something. No, that's the kind of lesson that I learned. You got to work hard. Then I went to the medical school. Like I told you, my grandmother was very successful putting me that you got to make a good life for yourself. And it was a great calling for me to be a healer. And sure enough, that's how it be. In 1983, I came to this country as a graduate student, because I did in the medical school, there used to be a subject called social and preventive medicine. And I passed with a distinction. So in a class of 150 people, students, there is like 4 of them that get a distinction in each subject. And one of them was me. And so I wanted to come to the United States. Of course, I was accepted in several universities, but I wanted to come to the United States to learn the preventive medicine. So I came in 1983 with $50 in my pocket. Went to University of Tennessee from Knoxville, went through University of Alabama into University of Texas, graduated, got my master's in public health. Then went to Chicago, did my residency in internal medicine, went to Stanford, did a research here with Tom Merrigan, the top guy. Tom Merrigan was the section chief of Stanford infectious disease.
Hmm.
When Pope Paul got sick with CMV, he was called to come treat him.
Wow.
That was my mentor.
Mhm.
And I'm so proud that, he gave me that chance of, becoming an infectious disease physician. So then I came to Tulane, did a 2 years of a clinical fellowship. And since 1990, I've been, living in here, right here. And in 1994, I had about $2,000 or $3,000. I went to this lawyer, estate planning lawyer. I said, Bruce, I want to set up a foundation. He laughed at me. I said, the foundation? Just like a Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation? No, you're dreaming big. Don't worry about that, Bruce. I'm paying for it. No, it's going to cost more money than just $3,000 not going to cut it. I said, I'll take it. I want to set up this foundation. So I set up in 1994 a foundation to serve this community. And that was my dream. And the money followed it. I never went after the money. I only had a 50. And that's all I guess, that belongs to me. And the rest of it is all. In fact, as a matter of fact, token appreciation to let the God know that I signed my donation of the body right there. That when I die, I carry nothing. If there's any body parts, my cornea, my kidneys, or whatever that's going to be helpful, so be it. Because this is not why I am. This body-mind creation of the egos and ambitions and greeds and lusts and all this stuff. I don't want to be caught in that, and I want to go into deeper divine self to feel that peace, love, compassion that does not care for the color, creed, all those things. That's the kind of person that I'm trying to be. So one of the greatest thing out of all this tragedy was my ego is being burnt. It's like a burn, baby, burn.
Well, but hopefully God will use your sick case and actually help this to be turned around so that other doctors that don't have your beautiful outlook on life can be saved before it happens to them. Sometimes God uses us because we can tolerate what happens to us versus other people. And let's just pray that this all comes out good for the community as a whole, for the country as a whole, and for doctors as a whole.
Yes.
So I appreciate you coming on board and talking.
Mm-hmm. Now, coming back to, this Katrina, it is very special for me because thing is, a lot of the people that were left over was the Black and poor people. Mm-hmm. The ones that had the money, they left. And in fact, we were housed in a hospital which was flooded. So we got rescued. And my mother was there with me, along with my family. I had 3 boys. They were all little kids. And the chef or in the dietary service, the guy who knew me, he told me that, Doc, this is a half a loaf of bread. This may be our last bread. And then he had a chili smeared on it. And I was just thinking, oh my God, that's it. The rescue people came in, all the stuff. So that's how it was. And I didn't care because that was my calling to be there for these people that are weak, vulnerable, Black, brown. That's where, I came in for. I didn't care for the money. If I cared for the money, I would have left. Mm-hmm. And I had enough, and all my relations all over the country. And I could have just all the stuff. So that's where we were lying, that all the Medicare regulations going to be, taken care of. It did not. And we had to fight it. And the people who helped me were actually targeted themselves. They were scared, like the Physician Against Abuse, Les Johnson, Dr. Black, all of these people. So much so, Judge Roby, in her protective order review, she said this was one of the most draconian protective order that she has seen in 25 years of her legal career. how strong that they wanted to, put me in a way where, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, you cannot talk to this one and all stuff. And they would just try to, hello, I'm not that criminal. And now I want to explain the indictment part.
Okay, wait. I have a couple of questions about the earlier part first.
Sure.
Would you looking back now that you kind of have some hindsight, would you consider the possibility that what happened to you as a result of your Medicare, saying that you infringed on the Medicare rules back when Katrina was there and there wasn't enough people and they actually told you that Medicare rules would be, waived at that time. Could you see that what they actually did to you then by coming back and saying you violated those rules was actually a paper trail for what's happening to you today?
Oh, definitely.
So that they actually could say, oh, look, well, he did this back in 2005. And then, so that kind of makes you look like, you're after the money when you're really not. And that they set a paper trail so that, that when it goes on to the press, and so on, when they put out their press release, they can bring that up or something like that. I know that's what happened to me. The government laid a paper trail against me, and I'm just curious to see if this is a standard behavior on the government's part, or if it was just me and I'm paranoid. What do you think about your case? Was it a paper trail?
Definitely, there was a retribution because they did not see a government giving away $740,000 back. Number one, and number two, I was the largest hospice in the state of Louisiana, and they could not foresee a brown Indian man being that successful. In fact, as a matter of fact, and I was divorced, and my ex-wife, my competition, Passages owner, had a lunch with my ex-wife and a couple of other girls, and they were saying, man, can we do something to put this guy in jail to take away my business? And I said, wow. And one of the attorney told me, that's FBI 101. Whenever you have a divorce or something is happening, you tap on them and then they get to you. So it's an easy way to get into you. They don't have to do a lot of work. That's exactly what they did. So my ex-wife was kind enough to tell me, how could I do that? That's the father of my children. We may not be living together. We're not together. That doesn't mean that I'm going to hurt him like that. That's terrible. That's what she told. And
Yeah,
so this is the kind of games that they play. And so this was my competition is trying to take over. And one more thing, that there is a Pat Mitchell. He's a white owner of my competition, St. Joseph's Hospice. He had a worst Medicare billing problem. Guess what? He had a civil settlement.
it went away.
Yes, civil settlement. For me, I got to go to the jail. And
Well, we're not gonna let that happen. Hopefully,
I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna fight it.
That's
I
right.
am gonna fight it. So that's basically, I think, they saw me as, a minority, the Indian successful guy. He's reaching, to the whole, like a state, the largest hospice in a state, and who knows where he's going to go to. And
helping the underserved that government doesn't really want to have around anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the God has given me that opportunity during COVID, that you succeed, boy, I'm behind you. And that's exactly what we did. Our story of service is all over the world. It's an Emmy-nominated documentation of what we did to the poor and underserved people. So
well, I think yeah, I would like to next go into your case that is happening with you today. But I think that what we need to do is do that in part 2, and we'll just end this part with just the the idea that this is just letting people learn a little bit about you in the past, and that hopefully we will be able to learn more in part 2 about what's happening today, and also my intent in all of these interviews is to talk about what the solution is. I'm so tired of just hearing people rant and rave without actually saying, okay, this is what needs to be done. So have that on the drawing board for our next interview. Okay.
Good.
All right. So just one second. Let me end this, this one here. I've got to learn how to do this. I'm kind of new at it.